Hey guys, and welcome back to Free Plugin Friday, where we look at free plugins you can use in your productions. Now, one of my favorite plugin manufacturers, back when I was using just free plugins, has started releasing their plugins in 64-bit. Now, I'm reviewing a few of these. I think the Ferric is going to be the first one released, so you've probably already seen that one. But this is Thrillseeker XTC. So what has happened is Variety of Sound, they made great 32-bit plugins back in the early 2010s, and I used them for everything. I couldn't afford plugins at the time. It was before I got my last job. And I didn't want to spend money. Waves was more expensive. You didn't have things like Slate subscription. It was just like hundreds of dollars to get like a single compressor. So I was using a variety of sound plugins, and there was compressors, there was tube EQs, there's tape simulators, and all these kind of plugins, but they weren't 64-bit. And when I upgraded to Cubase, I think 7.5, I went fully 64-bit. My whole system was 64-bit, and a 7.5 had a bridge built in, but it didn't work very well. I eventually got Slate and gave up on using Variety of Sound plugins because I had alternatives that were paid. And now, of course, for free, you've got things like Analog Obsession and stuff, which I do a lot of reviews on. But recently, Variety of Sound have been updating their plugins to new versions, which haven't been updated in years, to 64-bit with a few new features, and it's awesome just to have these plugins back in my hands. So today, we are looking at Thrillseeker XTC Mark II, of course, because the new versions are Mark II, because the old one was Mark I. Some of the other plugins had a Mark II already. And this is basically a parallel EQ, exciter, distortion kind of plugin. It has a bunch of different things in it. Here you can see it's got 3 bands. It's also got this mojo, but it's basically an exciter. It's not really like an EQ. It adds those frequencies, but in the way an exciter does. And in parallel with the mix control, it just can sweeten your tone or just add something different. Really cool. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of exciters. I do like things like the Dolby A-Trick. I love that. I've tried like Aphex Exciter, the one that's in the Waves one. Didn't really like it. But this plugin's kind of cool, especially for free. So let's dive straight in, look at the features, and just go through what this plugin does. It also does come in 32-bit form as well, of course. So you've got 3 bands here, low, mid, and air. And they've got a mount control and a frequency control. And as you turn it up, of course, it adds more of the excitement in those frequencies. But it's not as simple as an EQ. If you notice here, you've got this comp light here for the mid band. And it actually shows you how much it's compressing depending on what's coming in. So yeah, each of them, you've got 70 to 450 on the lows, 0.8 to 5 on the mids, and 3.2 all the way up to 18, which is insanely high. Now, I do think this plugin also includes built-in oversampling. I think that was one of the updates. Of course, just check the link, and Variety of Sound has a bunch of the new features listed there as well. And like I said, 1 to 10. You have a mojo section, which has got a drive and then a mount control. And then in the output section, you've got output gain and you've got mix. So automatic gain would have been great, but I think that's a lot to put into a plugin that's from 2012. And this plugin won the KVR Plugin Development of the Year award or something. I'll double check. I'll put it in text below what the actual award was. But yeah, it won a KVR award in 2012. One thing I know that they've definitely changed is they've added calibration, so you can make sure whatever you're kind of signal path is, what your gain staging is, it's calibrated. Defaults to -10. We're going to use it on -10. We may adjust it if we're not getting in the right range when we try it on some individual elements, but this is a really kind of hot track we're going to do it with. So I think -10 is fine. I like to try and hit around 0. That seems to be where it's doing the most effect. If you go too much, it gets really distorted in the drive section. If you go too little, you can't hear the drive section, and it just doesn't work as well. But you know, just do that to taste. So I've got this really basic kind of early stages dance thing. I thought I'd do something different. Yeah, it's using a bunch, I think they're Slate vocal samples and a few other things. Lots of auto-tune, lots of pitching, lots of vocoders and stuff. Still in the works, but I thought it was a really cool kind of different way of looking at a plugin like this to see what we can do to something that's not really mixed at all and still in the production stages. So I'm just going to play it and we'll go through each of these sections.
I need a reason why you're always on my mind.
So this is just an intro section. It's not going to have much going on.
I need a reason why you're
Once we get to
always on
the
my
beat
mind.
coming in, we'll start looking lows.
I need a reason why you're always on my mind.
Let's turn the plugin on.
Feel like I can fly.
Mix on full, gain on full. Have a look at our calibration here.
I need a reason why you're always
Start at 450 hertz. We'll wait till the drop kind of comes in.
Throw your hands up if you with it.
watch the sunrise. Feel like in me. It's like a dream come true.
So I've turned it all the way up to 10. Let's sweep through the lows so you can hear where it's kind of working.
Dream come true. You and I were dancing till the end.
So if you want that oomph, you want it down at 70. If you want more warmth, you want it a bit higher.
You and I were dancing
I think for this, we're going to go 70 and just dial it back a little bit.
like a dream come true.
So off. On, way more punchy in that low end. So let's have a look at the mids. We're going to turn the lows back off. Start at 5 hertz, 5 kilohertz. Here it's kind of starting to distort a little bit. Here you've got that kind of presence. You can hear that in the vocals. There you've got a bit of body. I reckon about here for this song.
It's like a dream come true. You and I were dancing till the end. It's like a dream come true. True, 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 true. I watch the sunrise, feel like in me.
Okay, so let's look at the air.
Come true. Watch the sunrise, feel like in me. It's like a dream come true. You and I were dancing till the end. It's like a dream come
Really adds a lot going on there, especially if you got the frequency lower. If you really want that air, you kind of want it about here. Okay, last we look at the mojo section. This is how the drive add an amount control. The drive seems very subtle, the amount seems to be more, so we'll keep it at 0 and turn it up the amount. You can hear that fattening up that bass there. Let's wait till the kick comes back in. At these levels, it's kind of subtle, but you start to hear it build up. And when you put on individual sources, it's a bit more obvious.
It's like a dream come true. I watch the sun.
So I'm going to loop a section at the beginning and turn everything back on. And you can hear kind of the differences.
Throw your hands up if you with it.
Watch the sunrise, feel like in me. It's like a dream come true.
let's use the gain control here, the output control, to balance it. So this bypassed. And then you can use the mix control to really kind of bring it back so it's not overbearing. Bypass. It's just got a little bit more excitement. It's doing what an exciter does. Makes it more exciting. So let's go listen to it on some individual sources. That's on the stereo bus. The cool thing with the mix control is you can really dial it to make it subtle. You can really add a lot in and then dial it back, because a lot of these kind of plugins, exciters and stuff, they sound exciting. And then after a while, you realize you've kind of overcooked it and they're a bit grating. So let's just look at it on the drums. So I'm going to get a copy up here. I'm going to bypass this version. We'll actually turn it off. So again, let's turn it off and kind of dial it in. Want a little more crack in there. And a little bit more kind of upper stuff going on. You can try some drive, but listen how that kind of kick distorts. That's what the drive's doing. You can of course apply it on drum tracks that aren't the kick, but with a heavy kick like this, drive's a little bit too much. Let's pull back that mix so we're not overbearing. Before, with a little bit of excitement. They're pretty cool on drums. Might just turn the kick down a little bit. Adds a little bit more thickness as well, and seems to extend some of the kind of sustain a little bit too. I think there is some compression, parallel compression going on there with this kind of comp light. That would make sense. So let's have a quick look on the bass synth, see what that's doing. I've already kind of prepared something on the bass synth, so here it is without it. Just really wanted to bring in a lot more clarity, so let's bypass it here. I didn't use the air because I felt that was too much high end for a bass, but this kind of upper mids really helped to kind of cut through with the drums. Bypassed. Now you can really hear the drive section kind of adding something nice here. Now the last thing I want to show it on is a vocal. So I've got the lead vocal somewhere here. So now we've got it on the lead vocal. So this is already preset in there, and we'll show you, and I'll go through some of what it's doing. So this is without it.
I watch the sunrise, stare back at me. It's like a dream come true. I watch the sunrise, stare back at me.
A lot more presence, a little bit more air, a little bit of drive, just to glue it a little bit and give it a bit of something.
It's like a dream come true.
Okay, I'm going to show you what the air's doing. No air.
It's like a dream come true. I watch watch the sunrise, stay back in me.
If we turn all the way up,
It's like a dream come true.
to really that toppy stuff, that little sparkle up there.
Stay back in me.
You don't want too much of it.
It's like a dream come true.
And then the mids are adding presence.
Dance until the end. It's like a dream come true.
You can hear it's just in your face. It cuts through a lot better. We'll dial it back a little bit.
It's like a dream come true.
And then the lows aren't doing anything.
Watch the sunrise.
We've also added a bit of drive. So this is with the drive off. Let's put the drive on.
Watch the sunrise. Stay back in
Glues
me.
it a little bit,
It's like
extends it a little bit.
dream come true.
So again,
You
off.
and I will dance until the end. It's like a dream come true.
With Thrillseeker on.
You and I will dance until the
We'll
end.
dial the mix back a bit. Add drums
It's
and
like
bass.
a dream come true. I watch the sunrise. Stay back in me.
Now if we go put on what we've got on the master bus too,
The sunrise. Stay back in me.
and everything.
It's like a dream come true. You and I
So what we're going to do is we're going to stop it. We're going to run the whole thing with all of them bypassed. And then I'll turn them all on. And you'll hear the difference.
Hands up if you with it.
watch the sunrise. Stay back in me. It's like a dream come true. I watch the sunrise. Stay back in me. It's like a dream come true. You and I will dance until the end. It's like a dream come true. You and I will dance until the end. It's like a dream come true.
Hands up if you with it.
Watch the sunrise. Stay back in me. It's like a dream.
Bass might be a bit loud.
Watch the sunrise. Stay back in me. It's like a dream come true. You and I will dance until the end. It's like a dream come true. You and I will dance until the end. It's like a dream come true.
Okay, so that is Thrillseeker XTC. I'll put the links below in the description. Go check out the other free plugin Fridays. I will be doing more stuff from Variety of Sound. And if I haven't already done some of those videos, if they're not out. And there should be a bunch more videos coming soon. I've just finished my first semester doing my master's. And that took up a lot of time. I was in lockdown, just really struggled to get videos out there. But now I'm free. We're opening up here in Melbourne. It's coming into summer for us. So hopefully I'll be able to get a lot more content out there. So if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And I will see you next time.